My name is Dave Schmitz, and I served in Vietnam from first week in October 1969 to the last week in September. And I was based in I Corps and just south of Da Nang, a place called Marble Mountain. And I was in the Marine Corps. I actually went to Army Helicopter Flight School, kind of a few of us did at one time, and then went back in the Marine Corps, got my Navy wings, and about 6 months later went to Vietnam. And I flew for a year there, and I came back in one piece, and I flew the Huey in Army Helicopter School. It's the last helicopter I flew, and we got our tactical training in that, instrument training, and so I had about 80 hours in the Huey, and it was a great aircraft to fly. I never thought or dreamed that I would actually own part of one some year, but turned out that I had a couple of bucks in the bank, and a friend of mine suggested the idea, and we ended up buying this Huey. It's been a very rewarding thing, flying the Huey around. We do a lot of veterans events. It's primarily what we do. Parades, we start parades off, flybys, and then we static display at different dedications to veterans parks and Vietnam memorials, and if they're a designated part of the crew, we've flown a lot of veterans in the helicopter. If we put them as a gunner or a crew chief, because it allows us legally to do that. So we've I don't know how many hundreds of people we've exposed the Huey to at all the functions around the state of Wisconsin, and we've been to Iowa and Minnesota quite a bit, and so it's been a fun thing. We've owned it for 6 years and still able to keep it flying, and we have a lot of volunteer support from Vietnam veterans for test flying and for maintenance and so forth. So it's kind of attracted a lot of people, guys that served with them and worked on them and just enjoy getting back to something they did over 50 years ago. Well, the designation of it is November 14 Sierra Delta. I think that was named after the Sheriff's Department in Seattle, Washington area that flew it for 10 years after the Army surplused it, and then it was rebuilt. And it was built in 1962, the year I graduated from high school, actually. And the bureau number is 62-12369. And we were able to trace some of the history of it. It was in Vietnam in 66, 67, and was damaged. We don't really know what. They said it was damaged a couple of times, and it was pretty rare that they took a damaged Huey and brought it back to the States. But this one apparently was damaged too much to be fixed in the field, but not enough to scrap it. So it came back to the States and went down to Corpus Christi, Texas, where is the depot maintenance for most of the services. They put aircraft down there, and once it was repaired, they put it in service around the country in flight schools, and it was at the flight school that I attended, the second one in Savannah, Georgia, Hunter Army Airfield, and it's distinctly possible that I flew this in 1969 in flight school. There were only about 6 Hueys there, and this was one of them, and I had a multitude of flights in. They switched us around, but there were no records of it. But anyway, can't prove it, but I go back a ways with this thing as well. Not to Vietnam with it, but to training, and then I went to Vietnam and flew the CH-46, and then finished my career of 5 years in the Marines in California, flying CH-46s and transitioning Marines into the 46.